Welcome back, everybody. It is 8 o'clock on the 8th of May. I believe that would be a Thursday. How's it going, everybody? I hope you're all having a good week. Like I say, things are progressing pretty fast. I was surprised to see a bunch of new tools and models being released over the last few days, and I'm trying to stay on top of things, but it's a little bit like triage, I've got to admit. There's so much stuff out there. But a couple of months back, we took a look at something called Latent Sync when LTXV first came out, because we used to use it with previous animation methods, and it works great with Framepack. So what I've done, rather than, well, we'll get into it, so give me a minute. Hello everybody, thank you all for joining. Hello Kurt Curtis, hello Full Dive Media, hello Dragon Diffusion, and hello Fernicar. Thank you all so much for dropping in. So, what are we looking at tonight? A bunch of stuff, obviously, as usual. But first things first, if you're watching live or you're watching later, don't forget that we have a Discord and the link is in the description, so you can go ahead and join us, share your work, and get inspired. Alright, that's the intro done. So yeah, you'll find most of my stuff over on Civet. Most of my public stuff's on Civet. Write a few articles up there from now and then. Usually it's instructions on how to install things. We haven't had anything major like that for a while, and to be honest, all the workflows are already built. But taking a look at the inside line over on our Discord, which is where I'll post up all of my most quick, with the quickness. We were working on Pan Vertical yesterday, so that was the short creation system. But this, okay, so first things first, face swapping. So we've been doing a lot of work with consistent characters, and the last thing to get nailed down was the face. So for the final train, we do the face swapping. The outfit is consistent. We've got good vibrant backgrounds. We're taking a look at that in a minute. As for Hoda Frame Talker, it's doing a test right now, and it's taking it's installing PyTorch Lightning. Okay, so it looks like the new Latent Sync 1.5 node will install PyTorch Lightning, so we're waiting on that. But that's fine. We can take a look at plenty of other stuff while it's crashing out. Okay. So just so you know, this is the Frame Talker workflow. Do you know what? I'm just going to post it. If I have to fix it, I'll pull it down and refix it. So testing it now. This is the untested early edition. So we do this every now and then when we're messing around, because it's pretty straightforward. All it really is the Latent Sync node 1.5. So it's been updated. You'll need to update your repo. And then what we've done is to sort of video output, obviously, right? And the text input, I've got a text box leading into my Kokoro V4, which I've got my pre-made, pre-saved, pre-mixed voice shape. So this is Kokoro. You can use whatever you want, though. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, we've got a way of making and saving our voices, so I thought I'll go ahead and use that. And then I noticed that a lot of people's audio didn't really match very well. So what I was thinking, we're not going to use chorus intense, okay? We're probably going to find something else, like compressor. Anyway, this is an audio effect, so it should be able to do some processing on the audio. It seems like this is very slow, or... Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting it's actually downloading with no feedback, so I've got no idea what it's doing. But yeah, so we have a directory batch system. You put the path for the directory here, you put the index, that's the number of the video in the folder. It's going to pull a preview from the first frame, so you can just right click that and queue it to see which one you have, because obviously it's just a number, and then obviously you can put it in increment mode and just batch loads and loads of them if you want. So once you have it all set up, it's possible to go nuts. But yeah, like I said, it's even worth making a video and script dataset system and a new loader that outputs the text to be text-to-speech with the video that needs to be used. And then in that way, you can just, you can automate it with a node. So we might have to, let's see that video speech set. I'm writing that down now. That's right up my street. A video speech set. Because the thing is, if you have a bunch of videos and you have a bunch of lines, you don't want to be sitting here entering it in one by one. You want to be able to make 100 of them as data, so you have an LLM that spits out the audio, the lines with the file name, and then you just pair it up. I am worried that it's just never going to install PyTorch Lightning, but we'll keep the faith, okay? But yeah, like I say, this is up. It's just Latent Sync. Load the video in. Use a TTS, right? And then it speaks. Now I'm using a bad input right now, but I want to see how much I can break it. She's gonna one, she's really small, so it might not even pick up the face. Two, she's moving around a lot. And three, she's gonna spin around. So I'm trying to break it here, as we do. I forced 30 frames per second in the default, but obviously you can change that if you want. And I put a max frames of 120 because I didn't know, you know, how tough it was going to be. But the way this works, obviously, you do your... Wait, what? Is it completely... Are these all the same now? Do you know what? I hate Comfy UI sometimes. It's changed all the tabs to the same workflow. Are these as well? No. Okay, cool. So let me just get the two workflows which you would want. So I'll say frame. So Hoda Framepack companion and then image to image. So yeah, it should be this one and this one, and then Frame Talker goes last. Can you even do that? Oh wait, there they are. Wait, I'm really confused. Hold on. These tabs are so confusing. So right, where? So there's Frame Talker. There's Companion, right? So Companion is a different workflow which I made, which deals with post effects and upscaling and interpolation. So then you get a higher quality, smoother video at the end, right? And so what I'm essentially doing is making another workflow that goes in the middle. Now this one, they're hooked directly. So you've got Hunyuan with Framepack running directly into the post effects. But that assumes that you actually have perfect videos every time. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get bad videos, so why waste this as well? You know, if it wasn't good here, there's no point doing all of this to it. So what ends up happening is you end up having the companion separate as a tab, and then you're loading the videos like I'm showing you. You see, you've got a directory of videos that you've already rendered. So basically it goes Hunyuan Framepack on its own, right? Generate the videos, make good videos. And as I say, we've seen this before, but just in case you had not. All right. Put your image, your prompt. It's the same back end as Hunyuan video, but it uses the Framepack and image to video. None of this has changed for weeks, by the way. The new thing is people have been figuring out that you can combine everything. We did all of this with LTXV earlier this year. But what I'm saying is, if you want to do it, you get your initial image, you get your prompt, you run the Framepack. I've got an article up on Civic explaining how to explain it all. Right here, can't miss it, it's the first one on the list. And then what you're going to do is the best videos, you're going to curate the best videos that you make with this process. Obviously everyone asks, how long can you make them? Okay, I have it set up for 5 seconds, which isn't very long. You can push it to 30. But I found that when you go over 15 seconds, you get a high chance of no movement or not a lot of movement. There's a whole prompt engineering thing just for this model to try and get better movement. Okay, but the settings we have here are good as long as your prompt is not whack. And to be honest, my prompt isn't that great. Look, man gets up and takes a walk on the field with his dog, and it doesn't really do that. It kind of looked like a guy with a shotgun, and the video it made, he kind of moved one arm a bit, and the dog kind of padded at his belt, you know? So, but anyway, enough of all that, right? So you already know what Framepack is, okay? So the next step, of course, is your best videos. You go ahead to Frame Talker. Now, obviously, you can use whatever. It's really just Latent Sync 1.5, which takes a batch of images in from your video loader. If you don't use all of this iterative directory batching stuff, you just use a standard double-click, load video, upload, right? Just use one of them. And you can just delete all that, drag it in. That's all you got to do. As for the audio side of things, you can have any TTS you want. XTTS does cloning. I've got a repo for that works. My Kokoro TTS Git is what I'm using here because, like I said, it's got pre-saved blendable voice shapes, like hundreds of thousands of them. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I'll just use them for now. But you can use whatever you want. Obviously, you could use a load audio file as well. Load audio, right? Upload. So so you could just do it with your own voice. Record something with your own voice. Drag that in there. Done. Right? Next, you could just go straight into the thing and be done with it. So you don't need any of this stuff either. This is extra stuff I like to mess around with. So if I take this audio and put it back to there, so what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, we've made our video. She's talking, he's talking, whatever. They're saying the words in this text box as well, obviously, right? Or, as we said, the audio file that you've loaded in, right? Now, here, these are not limited. .pdl files are just presets. They're external files held in my custom nodes folder, or sorry, in the pedalboard custom nodes folder, and it's got a presets folder inside our files. You can determine them. This is a Spotify made Python package for studio grade automation, right? So by using this, I'm sure it's like a full effects rack with chaining. Okay, it's actually pretty crazy. I've given good examples, but you know, you could become an expert just using this thing. All right, I probably just put a compressor on it or something. But yeah, you know, obviously you can look it up as well. Like if I say Spotify pedalboard examples. See, this isn't me, this is Spotify, see? And I didn't actually fork their thing. We wrote our own based on their documentation with vibe coding for fun. I'm going to go into that one. So here's pedalboard, as you can see. So it's a Python library for reading, writing, rendering, adding effects, and more. So it does way more than that. It can even use VST3, but I haven't implemented that. I just implemented a really simple thing for, look, see all these effects you can use, right? And like I said, let me see, can I find pedalboard here? I actually do need to start using the search more, because I can't really find anything. Pedalboard. Oh, I'm an empty. I forgot to search my whole thing. Repos. Right, so I've made a Gradio version if you don't have Comfy, and then I've made a Comfy version, right, which is nodes. So you can actually, funnily enough, you can actually create and preview the effects in the Gradio, save them, and then put them in Comfy. So I've tried to give you an easy way to make the effects chains, because you can kind of build them in the Gradio and then save them to external file and then put that in the right place, and it will be available in the node. But if I show you in here, pedalboard folder, these are all of the presets, right? And like I said, if you read up the documentation, there's loads of examples of different things you can do. Obviously it comes with presets, right? But look, oh no, that's not, no. I think maybe this is the core of what we were using, but no, that's not what it is. Trying to find examples. Good luck. You're probably better off just using mine. Here we go, look. Make a pretty interesting sounding guitar pedalboard. Look at this. So the idea is you get a pedalboard, right? But yeah, I think we were just using a chain of particular things. So anyway, back to Comfy. It's still installing PyTorch Lightning, so I'm going to talk to you about Sharona phase swapping real quick. Because the thing is, before we get to the point of doing the Framepack, you need images, don't you? You need images. So at the moment, what we're in the middle of is a big project called Sharona, where we've used a combination of Midjourney and Stable Diffusion with IP adapter and ControlNet by curating the outputs and then doing successive recaptioning and retraining. We started off with a very simple concept of like a cave girl, okay? Like Conan Barbarian style, right? But not muscular. Anyway, and then we wrote the story about the artwork with another tool, narrative inversion, which is also up on GitHub. Works with Klein and Claude. It's all vibe code stuff. we wrote the story, the first book's done, and then we used the book to describe the character back into Midjourney. And then it's been a big feedback loop where we bounced around from Midjourney to Stable Diffusion and back, and we just keep recaptioning, and we're just steering it, and then anyway, first gallery for the version 4 of the character went up on my gallery. Where is this gallery? Visit. There we go, 2025. See, everyone's forgotten about this because I don't really promote it anymore, but I'm going to be updating it. See, it's technically on the 5 Below 5 address, which is we've moved to Scuff Depot, but it's the same place, it's just a different name. And so what we've done is we've taken the concept artwork from the last pass, and then we've done a reactive face swap. So now the character is wearing, it's very close, you know what I mean? Like there's the occasional black shirt, or the occasional like badge or patch, or maybe she's got like you know, there's the occasional variation now, but the face is consistent, the art style's consistent. If you're wondering about the Harold face over the top, it's just a watermark. You can see it more obviously in some pictures than others. Okay, I do it as a joke mostly. But yeah, essentially this is what's going to get curated down to form the final character model. So obviously I'll throw out anything confusing, like this image here. Even though it's a good close-up, it's got a really weird sky in the background. I mean, maybe that's cool, I don't know. I'm just trying to point out stuff. But we've ended up with really dynamic backgrounds, really dynamic poses, and a consistent character style. Like I said, there are a few clothing glitches where it deviates still, but they're rare enough that you could be like, what, she just took a glove off, I don't know. Rare enough where if you want to pick, and here we go, we were talking about this on the stream, how does Sharona navigate in her world? Well, she follows the birds. It's the migratory patterns of the birds. You follow them and you're good. We were talking about this on the stream yesterday. We'll be doing a bit of research in the Writers Club section at the end of the show. And like I said, this is a random chance. I didn't know I was going to get it. And there she is. It even looks like she's pointing where they're flying, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, there are a few images in here which are not canon. So in other words, anything you see that's too modern or has people in it, not canon, rejected. But there were some really interesting images just coming out of this. Quite a lot of character in the scenes, which is nice. And so I want to show you how I actually did that, because it wasn't obvious, right? To get it from where, if you saw the previous version, she's just walking in forwards, always walking forwards. Let me see, do I have a copy of that? Yeah, here we go. So in the previous version of the model, this is basically what she was trained on before, but no, wait, hang on, let me get this right. V3 depth 2. No, this is testing the previous model. Okay. So I don't think I've changed it yet. So at the moment we're using the previous model as a depth guide, okay? And so as you can see, almost every image, every face is different. The art style keeps changing from photographic to cartoon a lot. And even though the face is roughly right, it changes, it morphs around. It changes from European to Asian a lot, okay? It's roughly the same, but I think you can appreciate just as I go through these images, it's close, but it's not there, right? It's a bit all over the place. I actually, the reason is because I used ControlNet when it was broken to get more out of it, right? And so you end up with this weird sort of Cthulhu-like stuff, heads in trees, and which is fine. It's all manageable, okay? So it's way too dystopian and sci-fi, and I haven't really even tried to control the background yet. It just is what it is right now, because we were using depth, with whatever I'd managed to train into the model. And the style was covered in all this sci-fi stuff. If you've seen my Cyber Society, or if you've seen my Not the True World lores, I favour a lot of this sort of junk, deformed rubble stuff. And so of course it's come through. It was originally in, there is some DNA from Cyber Society in here, but not through direct imaging, it's through a blend, but it is in there. But right now what we're doing is we're focusing on the variation in her clothing. So we're trying to get her clothing to be as consistent as possible and damn the backgrounds, okay? Now, eventually, I was like, well, you know, we need more than just her walking towards the camera, right? And we did have some, but if you can see here, look, we're hundreds of images in, and it's pretty much just all, there's a few sitting, oh my God, the Worm King. But it's very all over the place. The colours change a lot. Sometimes, you know, bits of her clothes are there, sometimes they're not. It hasn't really decided what it is yet. And so basically what we do is we continue. And I'm going to show you the system that was ultimately used to create them. Because it's actually, I wouldn't say it's ingenious. It's pretty obvious, right? But I've been working on automating it for a while. And like I said, as you can see, all these backgrounds, it's all just sci-fi junk. There's nothing there. There's no feature. It's just kind of, you know, oh my God. Somebody in shock. Okay. So you get the picture. They're all just standing, walking, occasionally crouching. The faces are good. This is a character trained output, by the way, which is why. So we've got it consistent and into this art style, and there's the occasional interesting image, but it's just junk, right? Okay. So after a lot of effort, we managed to get some good dynamics and all of that in this drawn style. Very cool. We'll release this model, by the way, for shits and giggles, but this isn't it. This is only the V3. The V3 was there purely to get the outfit down, and then we went back into Midjourney and used our best images with the Omni reference and style picks only, like our best 4 pictures out of this 500 went into the Omni ref and the style reference. Did all of it on live stream. We've done all this on live stream. This is the big recap, you know what I mean? Okay. So that would be depth 2, and as you can see, there was a lot of testing here. So when we get to V3 pose, we start using pose, because I'm happy, right? In fact, let me just show you that. We're on V3 depth 2. So yeah, and then we trained, so that was with the old models that we were just looking at, right? So I've switched over to depth. Let me put this on date now. So this is now the V3 character model. So we've retrained, we've recaptioned with all the best data we had, okay? And again, now we've lost the face, but we've got the consistent character, okay? And as you can see, when I'm using the depth, it's the depth. And I think it is literally the depth model. It doesn't know what to do, you know what I mean, with the shapes. I think it was like some rocks or something in the original image. Some of them come out nice and you get some new scenes, so it is worth doing. But ultimately, oh yeah, and if you get it looking like that, it's broken. Even though it's a different style, it looks like a different style. That's actually broken control now. So this is at the end. We go into the next phase. Again, the faces are completely scuffed, okay? But I know that I'm going to do the face stuff last. So now we move into V3 pose. So we're using our 3rd iteration. So we've been through 3 loops of passing the stuff back and forth. You as the human in the loop, basically curating at each stage. And now it's getting really consistent and way more expressive with the backgrounds. So we're getting much more variety, because remember, it was basically ignoring that part. The prompt had the information, but it was ignoring it because our LoRa wasn't ready to even express that yet. It kind of didn't understand, because we had to actually give those examples, and then when we retrained it, and we get them. But now it's lost the face because the identity is too, you know what I mean? every single image had a different face in it, so it can't make sense of that yet. But the next train it will. But then I'm not going to train all these random faces. Here I'm just experimenting. As you can see, look, the pose is not matching, you see. Sometimes you get a bad image like this and it's because the pose and the prompt couldn't line up. But every now and then it lines up, and it's more often than not. You get some strange setups here, and I want to explain how I've done it. It's pretty simple, like, and the workflow's already up. I've already put the workflows in the main pack, so if you git pull, you'll have them already. Okay, so none of these poses are in the original LoRa, but we trained the LoRa to follow poses. See, the whole point of the reason we went through all this work to design this LoRa this way is so I could literally now, obviously it's not quick enough to do it live, but if I was to jump around on camera and make a bunch of movements, I can then take those poses and I can act out exactly how I want the character to be, exactly where I want it to be, myself with a smartphone. That's all you need. A webcam, that's all you need. Just, you know what I mean, to grab the frames and extract your pose. You can do it, you know, you can act out. So the idea was to make, this is like a puppet, and then we've programmed all the scenes. So we can choose where she is, we can choose what she's doing to a certain degree, right? And remember, the downside of this is occasionally you get like weird mutation and stuff. And we're by no means finished yet either. These are just some of the early results when I was messing with this. Because what I ended up doing was making going through the whole thing again. So let's see. Right, so these are the ones that are going to get curated for the face swap. And you can see they're not good, but the environments are excellent. Let's see if I can pick up one of these. Poses are like totally random. You may remember a LoRa I made a long time ago called Woman XL. Okay, and Woman XL was hundreds and hundreds of open source 4K pictures. Oh my god, that one needs to get deleted. Ah, this one isn't the curated folder. What am I doing? Okay, so let's just do this while we talk. So what I did was I converted the woman data set into a depth set, not a depth set, a pose set. So that means I'm going to publish all this stuff so anybody can use them. But essentially all of these are poses that were taken in like a photo booth. All of these are poses that, you know, have been uploaded as, what are they, public domain photography, right? There, look. Because we're doing it with pose, there's no depth similarity, see? The hill's gone. Same pose. See what I'm saying? I've got the pose on random. I've got 700 of them in a folder. And then I've got the pose, the prompt is coming through out of a different loader, right? So I can choose to have the prompt that matches the pose as well. Because let's say you have a prompt that describes this image, right? It's going to be like, oh, woman in the outfit, tag for the woman because it's a LoRa, tower in the background, smoke, blue sky, standing on a rock in the foreground with a pose, hiking pose, I don't know, right? That can be attached to the pose. So when you pull it out at random, you don't just pull it out at random, it comes with some context for the new generation, right? Right, so enough of looking at it, because these are actually all here and they've all been face swapped with the Harold overlay. This is still installing PyTorch Lightning. Can I not have PyTorch Lightning actually? I didn't need it before. It's because they updated it and now it uses that. Right, okay. It can't still be installing, guys. It must be broken. Alright, we'll have a look at that, because it means that there's an extra step. We'll take a look at this in a minute. But yeah, let's just take a quick look at how this part was done, because this part's more interesting and it was working until because it's bricked my comfy now, because it's... Wait, I can't even stop it. But anyway, I can explain this. So... You've seen my face swap stuff before. This is just a updated version of the last one. It comes in, well, it did come in 2 flavors. I think I deleted the original. So the problem is the face doesn't match. Right? So if we take a look at the faces I used to build my face model for Sharona, you can see that we've got a mix of European and Asian faces, okay? Because it'll average out to make a unique face that will be somewhere in between. And the faces I'm trying to swap are between, this is like a range of faces from the set. What I've done is I've taken a 512 crop around the upscaled image, so it's relatively good quality, okay? The problem is it will be too photographic, too sharp. So there's 2 things I did to fix that. Number 1, turned it down to 0.7 on this, and you can disable this as well, but I prefer to turn this down and then use restore with main after, which means it uses the normal face swap as well, which I also use at 0.7. If you're interested, I'm using defaults basically, but this is the thing. The biggest change, the thing that made the biggest difference to this actually isn't any of this. It's the resize interpolation of the original image. If you don't pick, well, it depends what you're working with, but I would suggest testing all of these first and picking the one you prefer, because some of them pixelate really badly and it's obvious. But I go for nearest exact, and then what that does is it gives you something like that. And because we've shrunk it down to SDXL size before doing this, because we could have just worked on the original, but it really stands out. Like the face is far too sharp. It does not match at all. And that's with a 2816. So it might be because of the style I'm working with. It might be because there's a photographic bias in GFP GAN 1.5. Whatever the case, I don't care. So how do we solve it? It's actually easy. What I do is I use my image size adjuster V2. What it does is it automatically scales any aspect ratio back down to an SDXL size, okay? And then when it does that, it doesn't actually do the resize on its own, it just does the math. So then you pass the result, the adjusted width and height, to any resize node you prefer. You can use any one you want. And then fill crop. So what's going to happen is it might crop the image slightly, but it's very good at matching. And we have it on 64 here. You might want to use 32 for video. It's by the by. You get nicer results in the end. So anyway, like I said, I use nearest exact. That gives me a nice effect. But again, it's low res now. It's 1408 by 768. So obviously this matches much better with that. It's still too sharp. You can see the edges. It's still sharper than this. If you look at the edge of her shoulder, there's a kind of fuzziness to it. Yeah. Whereas the edges here are very crisp and defined, right? So the way I fix that is the way I fix everything with flux upscaling. With my tiled upscaler, I'm running 768 by 768 tile size with 64 overlap, 64 temporal size, and 8 temporal overlap. We use bicubic for our upscale method. Again, these are the sorts of things that can make the biggest impact sometimes, so test the one that you prefer. I will say though, if you don't use nearest here, it will pixelate horribly. I had to, like I said, this is the sort of thing I found out, you know. If you use nearest, it won't. It'll actually work really nice. But the main difference with this, which I haven't done and don't normally do, normally my upscaler is dry, plain, straight flux, or whatever base model you're using. For this one, we did a little change. We've put the power LoRa loader. You can use whatever LoRa loader you want. And we've used the character V3, which created these faces and this image. You see what I mean? It's kind of like blood for blood, you know what I mean? And then what we've done is we've then put just the trigger, not the whole prompt, just the trigger with attention 1, all right? And then you go through all of this nonsense, right? Only 8 steps at 0.10, and we are using boost at 1.0. You can put that up a bit more as well if you want it to listen to you more. But But anyway, like I said, 8 steps. Point 1, it's pretty quick. It's like, I think it was less than a minute for 2K. Might even be like 30 seconds to 2000. Anyway, 2816 by 1536. It does have a characteristic thing to it, which you can adjust out if you want, but I leave in. There's something that you'll notice about my work, which is that it has a striping artifact. You can see it if you look for it, but it's not everywhere, and I like that. Now, this is just me being weird, but if you zoom in on the material, there is a striping, which is quite obvious once you've seen it, but it's not in the sky, it's not in the clouds. Oh, it is in the cloud. You can see it there. It's not in everything, is what I'm saying. And so it ends up being an interesting little signature in the wall, which I'm happy with. I like that because I made this one from scratch. Okay, this whole thing here. It doesn't use a GAN. It just does tiling, and it's pretty good at it. I think what it is it's actually the overlap. But to me, it just looks like the paint got wet as it came out the printer. It looks like the printer rollers when you print in landscape. So anyway, I think you can probably tweak that out by adjusting the overlap and stuff, but I just come to like it. It's a little bit like extra fingers, you know what I mean? I kind of like, oh my god, extra fingers, because it's rare now. Anyway, so you upscale the image, and reminder, this is what it looked like before. I'll just give the compression algorithm a minute to decide that it's going to show how crap that face is. Nasty eyes, broken nose, right? One ear bigger than the other. Let's see how he did. Okay, the ears aren't changed, and we've zoomed in a lot more as well there. I need to try and get it 1-to-1. That's close. So the eyes are fixed, the nose isn't broken anymore. Much better, much more recognizable, and it's consistent, as I say. What I'm actually doing here is I'm going now through the previous folder here. This isn't one of the last images. Just to do the demo, I wanted to show it. But I hope it's such a subtle thing, you know? But if I show this image, that's a bad face. Everything else about the image is okay. But then if I look at this one, you can see that's instantly better, just from there. If I zoom in a bit more, it even holds up. You know what I mean? It holds up to the point where it's all so blurry that it doesn't matter. You know, when you can count the pixels, I think you've zoomed in enough. My only issue with this is that it's got a very photographic bias, and I am tempted to do an additional post-processing step to the images before they go to print. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm using PDF. So let's see, not PDF. I'm using SVG, and I built an entire SVG suite with insane stuff. That's the original. SVG Advanced, right? SVG. Preview? Yeah, we'll go to preview, and there's a string. Oh my god, they made so many of them, I can't actually find. There it is. You go like that, and then maybe you want to save it. You want to preview the image, right? Because obviously it saves as a scalable vector graphic, and then we probably do stuff to that, and then re-raster it. You know, it's kind of convoluted, but you've got to have a process, guys. So yeah, just giving you a quick crash course here. Everything is actually explained in the repo. I think I made a document to explain it. If I forgot to upload it, please let me know. It's just not an issue. I'm going to up this to 20. I'm leaving the splice there. The path precision might come down to 2. I forget if it was 2. No, maybe it was 4. I forget which one now. But I know I want 32 of these. And I know I want 8 of these. Now, this is channels, so I don't know why it goes to 10, but it actually only works up to 8. Also, the filter speckle, you can put that to 1. It just seems to make the shapes sort of randomly deviate. But anyway, we'll let that cook for a second. How are we doing? Oh, PyTorch Lightning. It took like half an hour to install, guys, but it did actually install. I was gonna Control C. I was just gonna Control C. I thought it was busted. I still think it's busted. Yeah. Anyway, so the way this actually works is quite simple. You have make image batch, you put a bunch of crops in, and then you run the workflow with the name of the face model that you want to use, and that saves it to your thing. After that point, it's in Comfy, it's saved as a safe tenses file that you can keep and use forever, which I do. I've been using the system for years, it's brilliant. Now, like I said, you can skip that part if you want to make it a bit quicker, because I do run this on video as well, it also works great. But if you run it like this, the model face is there. See, I've got all my different face models here, which I made years ago. They all still work. They're great. Occasionally, I get new samples and retrain them just because, you know, it's gone from 512 to 768 to 1024. Soon we'll be on 1280. I kind of feel like we are really, because a lot of the video models are 1280 now. Do you know what I mean? Like we kind of are 1280, 720 now. Is like kind of... I appreciate those paid models that go up higher than that, but I just mean like what we run on our computers here at home. But yeah, as I say, this is a simple Flux backend, so it's just a Shuttle Jaguar Q8, uses T5 XXL FP8 with ClipL, and what the standard launch Flux VAE, you can use the safe tenses, it's the same file, usually. I am doing force clip, but I don't even know if it matters. I think I put that in because I forgot to turn my computer off for like a week and it was crashing. I was like, oh, you fix it by just turning it off, huh? So yeah, so what's happened is I've just added prompts. It hasn't actually done anything. So I'm kind of annoyed about that, but I'm guessing we'll find out when we look at the actual Latent sync page. So let me just see, what have I looked at? We've talked about the face swap. Where can you get the workflow? Well, obviously DJZ pedal board, in case you wanted to know where there. I mean, I should have showed you this by now, but the bleeding thing is slowing me down. Taking forever to install Flash Lightning or whatever. So yeah, obviously as you can see, this is the explanation of that. So you can get it on the thing. It's also in the Comfy Manager, so you don't need to go looking for it. Let me see, what was the other thing? Where can you get the workflows? So, first workflow, I think, is going to be DJZ Nodes Examples. There's the Depth Prompt Creator, and there's the Control Prompt. Oh, wait, Pose Map Creator, that's the one. Frame Talker, there it is. So if you need the workflow, just delete this, just a placeholder file. Yeah, so you can get the thing, it's available as a PNG or a JSON. Okay. Tear it apart, carve it up, add what you want, swap out the TTS, drop the pedal board if you don't need it, or create your own post-processing. Thing is, you can just chuck the final video into any editor and edit the audio there if you want. I just like to give people a solution to do it all in Comfy. Yeah, I mean, I've had people use my repos in like serverless, so they're actually managing to use the custom nodes in that, and then it's so crazy. Just do it all as an API call, guy. Anyway, back. So let's see. Was it under Hoda or Foda? See, I don't even remember. Like I said, if you ever get lost, just scroll up in the inside line and you'll find all the workflows. So this is the one that I was talking about. For swapping, the best face to all outputs, downscale, swap, upscale, using the LoRa in the upscaler. Here's the workflow, there's the before and after. And then there's the frame talker. Let's see, before that we were doing video games, and Python ports, and JavaScript to Python, a load of generative SVG stuff, which is what I was trying to show you. See, that's not a good example, but it conveys the point. It's turned one of the images, albeit with bad settings, into a bunch of vectorized shapes. So yeah, you do lose some detail, right? But actually it's nowhere near like that. These are actually like we're doing manipulation with code, because it turns out that an SVG is actually an XML file, so it's possible to use AI to edit scalable vector graphics. Some of the effects are better than others, yeah, but there's an example of this is the effect that I would use, and I've printed these out and they look really good, because the thing is, when you do print with high quality, a lot of that is lost anyway. So by converting it to vector shapes, I don't know, it kind of has a uniqueness to it. Yeah, I'll leave it there. So anyway, like I said, it's up to the artist how he wants to present his work, right? So that's how it looks by default, by the way. So without me on the case, that's what it looks like. And then by using my nodes with my settings, same image, it looks like that. Now I'll admit, I could still do with a few more colors. But I think the colors are being intentionally clamped here so you can make a bunch of stacked shapes, so it looks even anything like what it should be. But anyway, enough of all that. Have we got lightning yet? No. Still no lightning, guys. Right, what's next on my list? So, Framepack, TTS, Latent Sync, Face Swap. Right, let's talk about Parakeet. I want to introduce this even though we might not actually be working on it. Let me see. I just want to introduce it. This is the sort of thing which I'm going to start. It's going to become a new feature which we're going to call Forked, where basically we fork stuff and get it working again with vibe coding. Now this is a bad example because it actually just works anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to build anything if they give it to you. But the challenge here is no conda. Yeah. So take a working repo, clone it, go into Claude, make this work without conda. It sounds funny when you think about it, but you don't have to use conda. And anyway, it's a development challenge, because like I said, have you ever asked your sister, brother, mother's, cousin's grandfather to use conda? So this becomes an excellent test case for quality of life improvements and ease of access, because they keep saying that AI is like democratization and all this, but if you need a PhD in Python to do anything, it's not very accessible. So what is this? Llama Omni 2, LLM-based real-time spoken chatbot with auto-regressive streaming speech synthesis. I thought everybody's trying to make videos talk right now, so wouldn't it be cool if we already got ahead of that and did a bit of research on, you know, the talking head that runs on Llama, okay, with Qwen 2.5. Qwen 2.5, look, Llama Omni, speech language model built on Qwen 2.5. This is really interesting. So you can expect a Qwen 3 version if this is popular, if this approach is popular. You can expect a Qwen 3 version of this pretty damn fast, because it's the next natural progression, right? So we have Whisper Large v3, we have the flow matching model and vocoder from Cozy Voice 2, which is interesting. I've never used Cozy Voice. We've got various things, and it's giving us a Gradio, right? So obviously I'm just going to run in there and see what it can do. Now, this is research, right? So I'm not even going to like go on about this tonight, but I just wanted to sort of say, oh, say something caught your eye. Like the way I found out about this, I have a feed in the Discord, which is AI Signals feed. And in here, I just post anything interesting. I used to have a bot do it, but he started posting spam. He got a bit... Everything was tagged AI. So if you scroll back, there's a couple of weird posts. I think I managed to delete most of them. They weren't like bad. It was just like everything was AI for a while, and it broke the bot. But yeah, he was just posting interesting repos and projects, not papers. So the idea is that he's going to post up when you can actually do something with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's an interesting tutorial. It's an interesting new models come out that you can actually use. Not like, well, this is, yeah, except for this one. That was me. I'm a broken bot. So R2 never came out. Something else, I think Prover came out instead, which isn't R2, but still, it's still a good model. Anyway, oh yeah, that reminds me, you've got another model to look at today. Damn. See, just doesn't stop, does it, guys? We've already checked out Quen 3. We did a load of stuff, writing with it. I think we wrote a book with it. It was just thin. It was thin like Gemini. Nothing against Gemini, I'm just saying for that particular task, it was thin. Right, so anyway, like I said, I saw this article, which is what we're going to look at in a second. So we've been looking at Llama Omni 2, which is a talking head thing. And like I said, I like the look of it, and I thought, oh, I'll make it work with a VNV and a requirements, and I won't use Conda. I'll make my own virtual environment. You know what I mean? That's what basically, I was like, can the LLM do that? So, right, anyway, we'll probably look at that later, or not tonight, but another time. So, but I just wanted to like say to, you know, if you see something that you like the look of, download it and ask your agent to help you install it if you don't know how. He will tell you everything. And I'll be real, right? I've been doing IT for like 30 years, and there's stuff I don't know, and I never would have known if AI hadn't taught me. I'm learning at a rate now which has been like I've never learned so fast in the last 20 years. Okay? So just get involved. Like, you'll learn, like I said, it's like, it's not just even like, if you just follow tutorials, all you find out is how to run it. If you just follow what people tell you to do, all you'll find out is like the bare minimum to get it working. And the thing is that AI can teach you all this advanced stuff which isn't in the basic instructions. A good example is that anything that runs on NumPy can be accelerated. We found that out last night. I never even knew it. I've been in AI for 2 years, and I was like, hang on a minute, I can accelerate NumPy and OpenCV, like, because I'd never looked into it. You know, it's like everything works, it works, so you don't, you know, you're like, oh, it works, and it's fair enough. Turns out everything could have been much, much faster. And I don't think that's really like, I think that's just even like a learning curve for me. But anyway, Parakeet CLI. So that's the next one. Parakeet CLI is a magical CLI tool that transforms audio files into transcripts, powered by NVIDIA's new open source Parakeet TDT model. Now, this thing claims to be able to do an hour in a minute. Alright? It might even be faster than that. It might even be a... Let me just check. Where's the claim? Where's the claim? Oh yeah, of course, I had to make my own repo because they don't have one. What the? How did they... The AI made this? What the hell is this? It must be some kind of built-in feature because there's no way he made that. Anyway. Yeah, anyway. Transcribe audio files to text with super accurate timestamps. 0 setup. 2 gigabyte model. But it uses the NVIDIA Nemo toolkit, which I don't have. So I don't know how you even get that, so that's going to be fun. How do you install it, bruh? Get started. Quick start. Okay. Wait a minute. Do I just install it in the project? Oh, hang on. I think I'm doing it on my other machine. Just a sec. Ah, yes. So what did I have to do? I had to... Still got some I got proto buff conflicts. Hang on. So what did we do? So funny when it's like just a massive download log. What did we do? We installed... Oh no, we installed VS Code build tools. Oh no. We've been here before, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna install it. No. Where do I install it? No. Okay. Wait, what? Hang on. I just want build tools. I don't want the whole thing. I've already got it. Oh, hang on. Maybe I've already got it. See, the problem I have with all this stuff is it comes in 6 different places depending on which one you have, and then you have to tell it which one you're using, and so then it becomes like a game of cat and mouse, like, which one am I using? I don't know. This is why I like the virtual environment so much. I think I should have build tools already installed. If I don't, it's because I uninstalled it all, like, to purge my system one day. Okay, so let's get into it, shall we? So what's this? How to use Tim's Forge. I'll leave that up. That's a different thing for a different day. What's this? This is the SVG suite, which we also have to look at another time, another day, maybe later. Window. So we're going to go File, Open Folder, and then we're going to go to our Projects area. We're going to make a new folder. We're going to call it Parakeet. Now, I don't think there is a GitHub for this because NVIDIA are sneaky, and they only have a Hugging Face for it right now. So I bet you Comfy's done nothing as well. Nothing. Let's just cancel Comfy, restart it in the background. I'll feel like I've done something then. So yeah, as you can see, just 512 crops for the faces, guys. No tricks. Just did it manually in whatever editor you have. Okay, so let's get a copy of Parakeet. Workflows. Okay, so let's get Parakeet, and you can see me break it live. As I say, there is no official repo, so I had to already make my own, so it's probably already broken. So just to keep things simple, so this is something which no one ever mentions as well. If you do open folder git clone, the root of the folder isn't Parakeet, it's above Parakeet. So that means anything that the AI wants to make will be made above and outside of that repo, which is fine if that's what you want, yeah? But if you want to be using this as your sort of like home directory, your root for the project, yeah? What I suggest doing is immediately after the git clone, just go open folder Parakeet. And now you see the root is that. So now it's going to automatically write files here and all the rest of it. It sounds like a very small concern, but the funny thing about it is that if you don't do that, he'll end up putting files all over the place, and if you move them, they might have local or relative pathing inside them, and it will you can create a proper mess. A pig's breakfast. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up Parakeet and README. Why? Because I want the README in memory when I run my prompts. Also, I want the script immediately here because I don't want him rewriting the whole thing. I want him to replace in file, and he will not. He might just rewrite the whole thing if I don't have it open. Little tips. Like, it still works, but you save money. It's quite a lot as well, because if he wanted to come in and like add one line here, with replace in file, he just adds one line. But with write to file, he has to read the whole thing, tokenize the whole thing, and then write the whole thing out. And there's a chance that he makes a mistake, isn't there? And all you really want him to do is write one line, or if he decides he needs to write one line. And so this is a good reason to keep things open when you're working with them. You'll still work with other files. I'm just saying, I find with experience this has saved me a lot of money and time, because obviously it's quicker that way too. And you can do both things, and it's up to him. So it's sort of like maximizing outcomes. That's all I'm trying to do. There is a config, because I've set this up so that it has like everything I try to make with CLI. There's like a design philosophy, right? So these Python scripts have options, so you can pass parameters like the input, the output, what model we're using, things like that. Okay. And so my idea is always to have defaults for every parameter. So if the user uses the thing and he doesn't pass anything, it'll still work, but only in a sort of evaluation way. So like if it was an image converter, there'd be a test image built into the project, that kind of thing. That way he can't just run it, python thing.py, and then it breaks, or, you know, it gives him a load of options, he doesn't know what the hell to do, right? So it will run by default, and then he'll go, well, how do I make it do what I want? And then he'll go in the config and go, oh, I put my stuff in here, and then I run -- config name of file. And the beauty of that is that now you can train an LLM to run your tool. So you can have an LLM output the JSON and then run it with the Python. So now your agent can use whatever you're building. And this is part of the effort here. It's not always kicking tires and spinning the wheels. Sometimes there's a purpose, but the purpose doesn't make no sense, because it's like lots of connected parts that aren't even there yet. Okay, a good example would be the automatic shorts. That wasn't there yet, now it is, and it's all working. But it's kind of like you have to be like ready to take advantage before it exists, or you're playing catch up. So let's talk about Parakeet Transcribe. The first thing we're going to need is the model. So I'm going to do Python download. Now, an interesting thing as well with PowerShell and a lot of terminals, you can hit the tab command and it will autofill or auto format. So with PowerShell, you're supposed to put // in front of lots of things like batch files and things like that. And I very rarely, if ever, type that, because tab. Another thing is up and down. You can get access to your old commands. I'm sure a lot of you have figured that out by now, but I can remember the day I worked that out and I was like, wait a minute, I can what? They're all my commands are there. Obviously this would be a long time ago. So it's not a big model, which is nice. 2.3 gigabytes. That means it's probably going to be able to run on my 4 gigabyte test laptop, which is awesome. I love getting more tools on the laptop. Okay, so you can now use the model by using Parakeet Transcribe models, blah, 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 blah. Again, see what I mean by the in development implementation? No offense, NVIDIA, but nobody's going to remember to type. Think about it. This is how you know a project is still in development, right? Because I'm not being critical here. It's just it's like Parakeet transcribe.py -- model space models / parakeet -tdt -0.6b. Did it need to be all that? It could have been a config. You see what I mean? It could have just been config or default to config. You know what I mean? Default to this. You don't ever want to say, hey user, you need to remember all of this and type it in manually every time. That's how you know it's in development. You see what I mean? Which is fine. We all know that, but I think it's an important thing to keep in mind, you know? These things are going to be awkward to use because you're supposed to build it yourself. And now we have AI, we can build it ourselves. And this is the crazy thing. I've been building tools for one file, you know? Like, I've got a file, I need to do a load of work on it, I know it's going to be repetitive, it's probably going to take me an hour. I'll spend 20 minutes working on a tool that can automate that. And so now, not only have I saved the 40 minutes, but if I ever have to do that again, instant. I'm saving time over fist. Time over fist. Well, it doesn't even make no sense. Okay. So as I was saying, I've got my config open, I've got my transcribe open, I've got my readme open. Let's see if we can fail the install. So we've cloned it, we've got the model, right? Look, there's the model, Parakeet Nemo. But we don't know how to run Nemo. I can't run Nemo. Now, what it told me to do was run build tools. So if I've already got build tools on the system, it'll work. I'm not going to do the virtual environment yet. I know they recommend it, but I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to do it for science. I'll bite the bullet so you don't have to. Now, obviously, this is dangerous because my system Python is probably 3 or 4 years old, and it probably has a beard at this point. It might actually have a name and an identity and dreams. So it's installing Torch 2.7, which is interesting. Because that's like brand new. Right, while it's doing this, it's coffee time, and I'm going to read out some comments. Okay, so some of these are going to be super old, but I'm going to read them out anyway. You need to close comfy. Close comfy. Thanks for the help, though. Hello, Louis, and hello, Brock Masson. Are you animating a book? Why Midjourney? I am, and I'm not. I am making a book, and I'm not using Midjourney. Midjourney is just like a brush in my tool set. It's not something I wouldn't do a whole project in one platform ever. Yeah. Like, I try to do everything in Comfy as much as possible, but the reality is when you're doing a full project, it's like a process. It's going to go round in circles, it's going to spiral out, it's going to spin off, it's going to come back from orbit, you know, it's going to get too close to the sun and burn a little bit, and then it's ready, you know. Let's see, what else have we got? Dragon says it has to be the forked candles, not forked. Does a bat file count? Does the conda install and does a bat file count that does the conda install and then build? So you just open the bat file? Yeah, that's what I've done. That's pretty much what I've done. All I did was I extracted the requirements.txt from the information in the Pi project, because it's just a different way of doing it. All the information is there. You don't have to guess. It's just set up like development. In a development environment, you would do pip install, I forget the option, but it's just a full stop, and it installs the actual project. I'm testing Parakeet. Seems problematic if you don't use Python 3.10. They mention it in the documents. Interesting. Electronic Art Music Collective says, hi Drift, it's very good. Llama Omni 2, it works well. Brilliant, that's good to know. I do appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know, because like I say, it's always good. Right, coffee machine. Okay, I'm gonna walk away slowly. What? Force reinstall no depths numpy 1.23.5. You might be able to recover from this. I've never seen that before. Super cooked. See, that's another reason why you should probably never do what I just did. But that was the whole point. It doesn't even have a virtual environment set up yet, so we're going to create one. like I say, yesterday we covered how to get your CUDA tools and your CUDA DNN all working. So obviously you need an environment variable. Back. We're gonna have to make coffee time better. It's been a while since we made coffee time. Right. Hello everybody, I'm back. Fernicar says Python 3.10. Yeah, I think I should have 3.11 on here, but maybe I'm wrong. So here we have it. It says no metadata found in program files Python 3.10 lib site. You might be able to recover from this. I'm going to try. Let's follow the rabbit hole, guys. Oh, it's broken. No metadata found. Found existing installation numpy. Package contents are unknown. Never seen that before. Right, so this doesn't even have... Wait, where's the... Oh yeah, that's right. So the way they're doing this, look, pip install u Nemo toolkit ASR. Do you know what I mean? Why are they being so awkward? So okay, we've trashed our system Python. What do we do next? Okay. We ditch it and go for a virtual environment that's clean of infection from previous failed explosions. So here we go. I don't want actually, wait a minute. Well, it does say just make it, no tricks. It just says just make the environment, bro. So I think we're going to do that. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll copy this. Okay. And then above it, I'm going to say our new project, and I'll say at parakeet transcribe.py, right? Fails to install with system Python. We can create a VNV installation scripts. We can create VNV installation scripts there. Now I'm going to say we will create requirements.txt which contains pip packages required for install. I know it's like you're just saying the same thing over and over, but I really do think it like reinforces it. We will create install.bat. Now I'm obviously tailoring this for Windows. If you were doing this for Linux, you'd say install.sh bash scripts. Okay. It's the same exact process. We will create install.bat, which will create the VNV, then install the required dependencies using the requirements.txt. Now you can write this shorter, but I actually have less success if you don't like overdo it with the accuracy and the context. Because you could have just said create install.bat that installs with requirements.txt. You could have just said that, but it's not quite verbose enough to get. There are edge cases where he makes mistakes. So this is almost like a song. I should turn this into some kind of poetry. The amount of times I've typed it out using the requirements.txt. Yeah, and then finally we will create run VNV or start VNV. You know. .bat, which will activate the VNV for Windows and then run the I call it the entry script or something, but in this case we know what it is. It's parakeet, so we'll run at parakeet.py. Okay. I put this together with all the tracks I've built over the last few weeks. Thanks for listening. Let's go. The musical vibe coding Sound of Music. Yeah, it's basically just you saying, do it better this time. Do it better. In fact, you know what? That is actually a really good prompt to say, we can improve this, and then just don't enter the... So like you load up a bunch of code, and you say, we can improve this, and then enter, like you got cut off before you even described what you wanted to do, and he'll just hit you with like 10 things you couldn't even thought of. And what I'll have to do then is I dump that to a text file, and then I'll hit him with one of them at a time. And then after like 8 updates, he's actually implemented it all, and you're just like, what? You feel like you're walking around with a tesseract. I don't even know. It's like, well, it works. It's like, I understand it to the point where I know what it all is, but I could never have done that from scratch in, you know what I mean, without even talking about the speed, you know what I mean. It would have taken me weeks. I would have been reading up on stuff. It would have taken me ages. So anyway, file will contain necessary Python packages, Nemo Toolkit, TDQM. It will install virtual environment, activate it, install the packages, create the environment, activate the environment, install the stuff, UR requirements, interesting choice of switches, start Paracrete, run VNV, start run VNV, Paracrete transcribe pi, %. That's a good enough, yeah, that's a good place to start. Alright, now while that's running, what else have we got to talk about? So we've already talked about that. So there's one thing left, which is Zenkai ControlPrompt. So it's time to talk about that, because this is probably my most insane system. Okay, so we're going to need to be in 2 places. We're going to need to be in custom nodes, DJZ, down with the folders. And we're going to need to be... Oh, great, I was already there. Okay. We're bringing it back. Okay, so Comfy's loading up. Ah, so on Windows it had no quotes. Thank you, Fernicar. It was a difference between, yeah, my egg did not make the meta. My build failed. Yeah. New VNV for Parakeet needs torch. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. Right, well, like I said, we'll get there. If that's all it takes, it might, yeah. Anyway. So, Foda, reactor, cool. So I need to go back to the other thing. Yeah, so let me load up the workflow that was used to make the final images. Not the face swaps, but the one before that. So it's probably here, curated. Yeah, it is. Ooh, okay. So this is the workflow that was used to make the Sharona V4. Okay. Now, it's a little bit different than usual. I actually need to name this and release it as well, so... Okay. So, I hope you can see this here. We've got Zenkai ControlPrompt, and there is an image being sent to a VAE encode, okay? And that one is in Latent 1. So this is my new... Because... Let's just break this down for a second. There's different ways of doing control. You all know this. So it's time for the $1 billion the thingamajig. Let's go. Here it comes. So if I have an image, right, and it's got like a person in the middle, and it's got like, it's all depthy, you know? Right? It's all depthy, right? It can do whatever it wants with, you know, say, oh, it's a bit depthy, guys. It's a bit depthy. Yeah. So it's a bit depthy. You don't know. It's making stuff. It's got a bit of freedom to make images with the depth map, right? You know this. Okay. But the thing is, it gets locked in to those shapes quite badly. And if the ControlNet doesn't actually know what that is, it gets super stuck. So what we propose is to break free from the chains of traditional generations and become an open pose god. So what I want to say is, the way it works is, we turn your dataset into image, mask, depth, pose, canny, and prompt. So you started with a dataset that had images and prompts, so a captioned image dataset. I then use a workflow to pre-bake every single image in the dataset into separate folders, and then I have a script which removes all of the underscore 0001 underscore stuff that Comfy puts on everything. Okay, and then I have another script which turns it all into a proper data set. So you give it a config file that tells it the path to where the output of the creator workflow goes, the folders that have all the different maps. And this works accurately for animation as well. So if you have a video, you can send every single frame and make a control prompt data set for every frame of the video that's got a mask, a depth, a pose, a can, and then of course you can either use it for animation in increment mode on sequential, or you can put it in random mode and use it as a randomizer, because obviously you've got the prompt to match whatever it randomly come up with, and the mask and the depth. So it's like, oh, which ControlNet are you using? Connect it. Makes the programmatics so much quicker, and also the mask as well. We do that with a RemBG. So the workflow doesn't stop for all that stuff. Because what I found is often we're doing the same input many times. So what this does is you bake it once and use it forever and don't have to pay for that every time, you know? Like, I'm considering going as far as doing like conditioning, caching, and like latent presets and stuff. Because think about it, if you're always doing the same, like if we were always baking the same latent, surely it makes sense to just have a latent loader and skip all of that. Do you know what I mean? So this is where my mind's going at the moment. Now, it's all very well and good having this system, but it can be further augmented. And so, obviously, because I know this is a bit complicated to make, I decided to make more basic versions. So this one only randomizes pose maps. You don't need a prompt. It's not paired with anything. It's literally just a pose randomizer. So in this folder, I've got 700 poses from photographic female public source datasets. Okay, like ballet, portrait, outdoors, you name it, it's in there. There's like 700 of these, right? And they're just all poses, right? I'm going to put it up on my Civic. Do you know what? I think the pesky buggers deleted my mystery woman data set. So my, my sort of, because I made a joke release on Civic, which was called Mystery Woman, and it was all like, it was pole dancers, but it was actually just, it was just open pose skeletons. It wasn't actually real people at all, okay? And the joke is, do you know what, right? You get Spider-Man, type Spider-Man, and then prompt. So you get Spider-Man hanging on a wall, and then you get an open pose prompt of that. Put it in a generation and say, it's actually a woman swinging on a pole. It's a woman on a stripper pole. But then you take that skeleton and type in Spider-Man on the wall in New York or whatever. It works 100%. It works 100%, and it looks really good. It's like, oh wow, the gravity's all simulated, and the skeleton looks perfect. You're like, well, how do you do it? That's how you do it. Okay. So anyway, I do actually do a little trick here as well. So if I was just to pull this and do a preview, right, you'll see what I'm talking about. So there is the open pose, 768 by 1097. It's a woman looking down by the looks of it. Okay. So how do you use that in your generation? Now, obviously, you can use it just like that. You can use it just like that. It goes into ControlNet. Okay. I'm using Shaka Labs ControlNet Union Pro with KJ Node's set Shaka Labs Union ControlNet type, because the default one is scuffed. and then you can use you can use pose. I'm using 1.0, 0 to 1, very simple setup. The actual setup for the sampler, we've got EULA, SGM uniform, 12 steps with 1 denoise because we're in text-to-image mode right now. And as I say, that's why I made this latent switch. Okay, so when we're in image-to-image is technically latent 1, as you can see, it's coming from the ControlPrompt image out. It's being resized right now to this map, but that's just so it all matches. But when you have this in 1, it'll run the image. When you have it in 2, it'll just run an empty latent, which is that size. And I find that's the best freedom, actually. Yeah, image to image is cool. I've done a bunch of experiments with it. There are times when it's useful, but if I'm being real, for this works best when you give it total freedom to reinterpret the prompt, but stick to where the character is, yeah? Okay, so anyway. How does this trick work? Okay. I made a node called black bars v3. Not a lot of people know about it because the other ones just put black bars in your image. v3 puts black bars outside your image. It uses padding, not cropping. And this is useful because it's like magic. Okay, so now it'll pad so no matter what the depth. So think about it. When you do your say you have 700 images, they are all many different sizes, right? If you were to bring the pose in, the pose has got to fit in the image, right? So you don't want to like just get the legs, do you? You want it to be fully in the image. So that means the size of the image has to be taken into account, right? So what I've done, the way I've gotten around this problem, is we pad black bars to a target aspect ratio. So that means no matter what image comes out of here, it will always be the aspect ratio you pick, and you can change it. So if I said here, well, actually I want 9 to 16 vertical, yeah, boom, now you've got 9 to 16 vertical. Obviously if I don't want this to randomize, I can put it on fixed. So let's pick a different one. And the other thing is, unlike an incrementer that reads from files, doing it this way, it'll loop forever. You can leave this on all night. It'll never go, oh, I can't find any more images, because it understands to just keep looping. The seed is just a division of the image count in the folder. So, and yes, as long, you know, and also if you don't change the image count, it will always reproduce as well. You know what I mean? You can come back to it years later and it'll still work. It just has to be the same. You see what I mean? Right. Let's go back to 16 to 9 real quick, because there's one more point to this. You'll notice we got some extra resolution for free. We're at 1365 by 768 on this one. And obviously it'd be more or less accentuated depending on what the input image was. See, this one is 1852 by 1042. Now we don't want to be putting that straight in. So obviously I put the resulting image from black bars into the image size adjuster V2. And again, if you do want the image size to be led by this, mute it. Now the image size is going to lead the generation. But if you want it to be 16 to 9, this is an automatic. It's a nice way. It's a nice way of doing it. Also, because of this drop down, we can have it in 512. So you're going to do 4x to 1280. Do this 1.5x to 1080. Or Cascade, which is a 2048 by 2048 setting for crazy people that only use tiled. Okay? Right. What else have we got? So obviously you will pick from a folder list here. I've got RDM Sharona Car. That basically means I just put RDM in front of these so I know whether they're sequential, or random. So, you know, it's not like a video. It's just a bunch of random assets. Yeah, they're not like in a sequence. Yeah, because obviously you can use this for animation as well. Right. So we've explained all this stuff. Great. So I hope you can see that by using the prompt generator, yeah, to generate the image, obviously we're mixing and matching depth from a completely different sample set. But then because we've done the effort, if you've followed the lives for the last couple of days, you'll see a crash course starting from zip, where we've created this character. Let's just run the image and show you. So it's got to the point where the character is consistent. Do you see what I mean? The character is now consistent, her outfit, but they've got really good environments, really nice variation in the environments. They're all taken from the story as well. So remember, the concept art inspired the story refined the art, the key art, and now what we're at is we do a face swap with the best faces, as I explained at the beginning of the live tonight. Okay, and that's how we get our final data set. And like I said, the final data set will take the longest time to curate and caption, but then that's the model that gets used to do the book cover art, the illustrations in there, potentially graphical novels, potentially comics. Because the thing is, this story was actually designed from the start to be easily applied to comic. That's why there's only one character. You know, I'm not going to hide it. The story was created to have a character-driven drama that's like survivalist and is all about the one character. There are no other characters in the first book. She's in bloody Mongolia. Solo. You're solo in Mongolia. That's the mission statement, you know? And so I thought, why am I making my life difficult trying to tell these stories with all these characters? And it's actually kind of ironic, because the last thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to create the cast of Tower, which is which is the complete opposite. And you can see how when I finished Tower, the next book I worked on was this one. This, you know, the reason, because I was like, man, all these characters. Because the difference with Tower from all the other books I've worked on, I usually work on like 1 or 2 characters, maybe 3 characters, maybe 4. That's, you know, I don't like to juggle too many characters. That's my weakness, I guess. That's where I could improve, yeah? And so we went to Tower, and Tower has like a bloody roleplay game, Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers Party. Do you see what I mean? And so they've got, well, they're all different, and they've all got different, everything's different, and it's kind of exhausting to sort of keep track of it all. I did it once in the past, but I actually used LLMs to play out the agent's personalities, so I didn't actually, do you know what I mean? The last time I did a story that involved a bunch of different characters talking to each other and stuff, every character was simulated by a different LLM or a different agent, because it was an experiment, right? I wanted to see if I could create an AI cast of actors and then have them do a play. And you can. It works really well.
In the morning.
I'm a bit worried about that. Why has it got... Oh dear. Crossed legs and hands. There's a lot of challenges in this image. So what have we not done? Ah, yeah, okay. So we started talking about the control prompt. Right. Control prompt. I have various different examples. So here's the control prompt. We have control creator. And then we have image mask prompt control prompt. Yeah, I'll just take this one. We'll chuck it on here. Okay, it looks more complicated than it is, guys, trust me. So, what you do, you put a video in here. Yeah. Where's the one I was working on? Hang on a minute, I got an idea. I think all the depth maps have got like metadata in them still. Hang on. Control prompt, Sharona, let's go. Yeah, it worked. Excellent. So, this is the updated version. See, why is this not up there? Lazy Johnson. 30. Yeah, wait, what? Hang on. Yeah. So that means I did save it. Okay, I probably just forgot to upload it. Okay. Come on. I've got to do that right now, because I'll only forget again. Workflows, control prompt, because the difference is this one is for making video and this one here is for doing a directory of images, which is a hell of a lot more relevant to most people. Okay, so now that's done, let's get parakeet out of the way. Oh, How is Parakeet doing? Oh. First run install. Okay, we'll come back to that. So, where'd it go? Oh. Okay, so there we go. The outfit's good. The hands are bad. This isn't the best prompt, but the face is terrible. Okay, so that's bad. In fact, look, let's just take a moment. Let's just take a little moment here. Now, this isn't a problem. This actually isn't a bad generation because we're going to do a refining stage and fix the face. See, guys? I told you it would be fine. So let's just copy that and I'll show you that it will actually be fine. This isn't... Okay. Enough jokes. Right? Curated. Yeah? Curated. Right? Okay. Back. Face swap. Face swap. Curated again. Lots of curation. I call that human in the loop. So we'll drop that in, right? Now, I'm going to make a slight change here because what I want to do is just do one image to show you guys. But normally I would get the path. Yeah. Normally I would get the path to the file, the directory, and I'd just use 0 on fixed for a folder with one image. Do you know what I mean? But for the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to swap it over to this, because you can just do that as well. Right, so you can just do it this way also. Alright, so that's just the power of code. So I'm going to say face swap 3, so I know it's on a different folder. Okay, and we're going to run it. Now, the nice thing about this is it's got a built-in creator, as I showed you already. So you just need a couple of good images of the face. 512 by 512 is good. The problem is I used to do 1024 by 1024 because you do get better quality face. But because I'm working with like a graphical art style, what the heck? That's like the worst image. Come on, let the upscale fix it, yo. That's terrible. It's better. It is better, but it's still broken. Hang on. I might have to do another one, guys. I think I might have to do another one. Oh yeah, I think I've got a blacklist. So hang on a sec. So the prompt it's currently running on, skulls, right? So I don't want skulls. I think these skulls are a bad influence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say skulls in the blacklist, and you can comma separate terms. So if I've got prompts that contain the word skulls, because it's got a blacklist, this is another reason why it's so much easier to do it this way. Some of the nodes I have a whitelist, which means that you only get what you asked for, but most of them only have a blacklist. So, like I said, if you have a bunch of women and you have a bunch of men, they're all in the same thing, and you say, I want no women, you're just going to get men out of the thing. It's that simple, right? So let's just run that, and how are we doing? It matches, but it's really bad. And I think the reason this happens is actually because the skulls took some of the generation attention away from her face. Okay, it makes sense when you think about it. Do you know what I mean? Can we get a different image? Have I fixed it? Did I fix it? I think I did, didn't I? Oh no, the pose map is fixed. Let's put that back on randomize. It should be okay. We got a different prompt this time. Let's see. We got desolate with scattered rocks and no vegetation, suggesting a harsh, possibly alien or Hyborian age setting. Oh yeah, that was the other thing as well. You can do prompt tricks. So we have a little thing here. A concatenate so that you can put stuff in front of or behind by moving the inputs around. And then here I have an example of prompt swap being used. So there are terms post-apocalyptic and dystopian, and I'm swapping post-apocalyptic for Hyborian Age and dystopian for barbarian. So if the random prompt, because obviously you're pulling out random prompts, right? They're your captions, but they are coming at you randomly. So you've got an ability to blacklist stuff you don't want, but then you also have the ability to swap out terms for other terms. So you've got like a replace prompt option there. There's also another one I've got called prompt inject, which targets a word. So you target a word, and then anything that you write here goes either before or after. Yeah, so say there's a specific word which is always in the prompt, you know, photo of such and such woman. You could say woman, and it's going to put, you got to be careful though, because you've got woman twice, it'll do it twice. There's also another thing I did, because I've got a lot of stuff, a lot of tools to do with this kind of thing. Dedupe, dedupe, dupe, dupe, dedupe, dupe, dupe remover v2. So duplicate remover. So say there was a particular term that's being repeated many times, you can put that in here. Oh sorry, you just pass the whole thing through like this one. So you go in and out, right? But you can whitelist terms that are allowed to repeat. So all it does is it stops there from being more than one instance of a specific word. So yeah, that's all it does, you know. So if it's like spamming words, the reason this can be useful is when you're trying to sandwich two prompts together but inside a token limit. So if you have two prompts which are like 50 tokens long, put them together, that's 100 tokens. You've only got 77 with some models. So what I do is I crunch the prompt at the end, and then because I put one prompt first and one prompt second, if there are repeated terms in the second prompt, they just get removed. It does leave an empty space though, so you can easily see what's going on. Okay, so this one is a slightly better face. It's still bad. Yeah, it's still bad, but it's a little bit better. And then there we have the upscaled face. So again, if I save that, and now we're going to be a little bit more fair to the system because it's not a crap example. Go in here. So now we get this new face, which is a good face, but it's not the character's face. You see what I mean? It's just a character's face who's wearing the correct outfit. So off we go. First swap. The only thing as well is like red lipstick. Really? I think I can just, I can fix that with a batch action, but the point I'm trying to make is, where'd she get the lipstick from? This is supposed to be like survivalist and all. I think it's just an artifact of the I shouldn't laugh. Okay. It's just some of the faces that we end up generating, guys. They're super bonked, are they not? Okay. We're gonna get this done. Wait, is that like Chad Squidward? What the hell? It's too much for me. Sometimes. Yeah, she had a brick dropped. Yeah, some kind of trauma. Okay, some kind of blunt force trauma. Like I said, I've drawn worse. Okay, so there it is. As you can see, it now has the character's face. All right. Now, there's a lot more that you can do from here. Post effects, upscaling. Yeah, color grading, and then there's obviously the vectorization experiments. I think Dragon Diffusion mentioned the taking it into Blender, and there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with things in there as well. Cell shading using a computer, like a shading. Yeah. So there's a lot more that you can do from this point, but I'm trying to go to print. So for me, I could just go to print from here. I'm going to train another model because I still think it can be better. What I want to do is curate out some of this dystopian sci-fi stuff, because that's what it is. It's trying to make sci-fi wreckage and whatnot, and it doesn't actually fit. So, but yeah, it's funny. See, the story was supposed to follow the images, and I found myself editing the images to make them like the story, and I caught myself and went, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be making the images, sorry, making the story to fit the images, not the other way around. But it's like, even me, I'm having trouble like doing it backwards. It's all the reversal, you know. So anyway, that's the process. And as I said, the full gallery is up on my website. There will be a link. Start 6. You just go like that. Yeah. So I will chuck the link in the inside lines. This is the Sharona V4 curated, not trained. So this is literally like the data set, basically, right? This is like potentially the data set. Obviously it has to be captioned, and it has to be captioned in a very specific way. There are way too many images, so more than half won't get used. But that's nice. I think that's nice. It means you've got freedom. Do you know what I mean? You've got the freedom to choose. You've got the freedom to choose, basically. And like I said, some of these images won't work because they don't fit thematically. I'm going on a bit of a warpath against this type of scenery, because these rocks are an impressionable engram as far as concepts are concerned. So in other words, if you have rocks that look like this in your data set, they'll be everywhere. It's just a strong concept by the looks of it. And as you can see here, we're putting her in different places, making her do all kinds of different poses. I expected to have more problems with the hands. And sometimes we do have more problems with the hands. But it's nothing that you couldn't fix with like Photoshop airbrushing, you know? An extra finger can be easily removed. It's when it has not enough fingers, I think, is the problem. Like even here, she's got the correct number. You can't see her thumbs, it's fine. Really, I just don't like the slag, like this sort of mechanical junk. Just kind of lazy generation, do you know what I mean? He's like, oh, I don't know what to generate. I looked at the prompt, do you know what it said? It said dystopian pumpkins. So these are like pumpkins. So yeah, I'm like, no pumpkins, please. Okay. Some of them are actually really good. This is the sort of thing. This is great. This is great. So it got to a point where I was like, if I just delete the ones that I don't like and then caption them and train it again, we're done. It's literally at the final thing. And then the resulting model won't need face swapping, because every single face is the same face. So when you retrain it one more time, it will learn that face, and it will just be it will natively have the correct face. It might have some issues with like profile and stuff, but when I did the face swapping today, it was actually really good at catching profile face. The faces in the background, pareidolia. Yes, it is, but it's the AI doing it, not us. So the AI sees faces in things, and then he tries to actually change it into a face. You know what I mean? Because one of the features of the upscaler is it does kind of restore, you know? She's got naturally red lips, guys. There's no lipstick in this time period. Also, some buildings just look kind of run down. There shouldn't actually be any buildings. There's a lot of buildings. Do you know what I mean? I might have to just relax the law and be like, yeah, there's still some buildings, because all the good art looks like, you know, what am I going to do? Like, I'd rather just make the story from the images. Do you know what I mean? I think it's more interesting to do it that way. Some of these poses, man. Some of these hands as well are definitely bad. Look, oh, wait. Oh, she's got monkey feet again. Isn't that funny? Like, sometimes you get like a perfect foot, and then other times you get a hand for a foot. But yeah, as I say, I think once this gets retrained, and I'll pull out any images that didn't work, you know what I mean? Or, you know, because she looked super Chinese in this one. What I've basically done is made her a little bit more European, but not that much. The idea is to place her as a woman living in the Mongolian northern region. Do you know what I mean? But it's like thousands of years in the future, so, you know. And it's not supposed to be high-tech at all. Like, I was sat there umming and ahhing over whether or not I should even let her have shoes. And then I realised that the base models want to give people shoes. And it's not like a plot point that she's barefoot. So just let her have shoes, man. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, if it was about honouring the story, you'd be like, no, I have to do it like it's described in the story. But then I was like, hang on a minute. The story is just based off of the images. So if the story says something different, then actually the story's wrong. Because remember, the AI wrote the story, didn't it? Based on the pictures, right? Because that was the difference with this one. I gave the AI a couple of pictures while I was writing it to see what would happen, you know? And for the most part, it was a good experiment. Is that where she lives? I don't know. But the thing is, one thing I do like about the hallucination is you can actually take advantage of it. So I think that hallucination is a little bit like a bull. You can have it charge you and be knocked down, or you can put some harness around it and have it pull you around the place with a big old truck, you know? It's probably not the best idea, but you get what I mean. You can run a plow with a bull. It's probably not the best animal for it, but I'm just saying that if it wants to freak out and run around all over the place, let's make it do some work. And when I say that, what I mean is, you know, the variation. You can take advantage of hallucination to give you a chaos factor, which can actually introduce some spice into what would have been otherwise banal generation, yeah? Because when the AI is trying to be all serious, it's kind of boring. But when he starts tripping out a little bit, every now and then you get what we call in the art world happy accidents. I'm sure you've all seen it. Even if you've used Midjourney, you've seen it. See, this is the type of ruins I wanted, you know, like this is all that's left of New York or something, you know, but it still looks funny. I do like the idea though. This is more like what I was going for. Do you know what I mean? I had the idea like, oh yeah, there's ruins, but they're just not even inhabited because everybody's dead. Could be a lion living up there, or a tiger or something, a bear. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. So yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's a damn sight closer than it was. And I think that after the next retrain, we're good to go. Okay. What else did I miss? Shadow depth provoking extra finger. Yeah, that's why I switched over to open pose. I was using depth early on in the process when we were trying to get lots of variation in the outfit. We used depth, but then when we managed to get the outfit to be consistent, we realized depth was actually making the background suffer. So then we went over to pose, and then I realized that by only using poses from inside the model I'd trained, it would only ever make, you know, the same thing over and over and over. So obviously I decided to build out some depth models, pardon me, and I used those depth models to augment the control prompt set, and then that gave me the ability to do all these remixes, right? So all of these poses are like, they're all from 4K public domain photography of women. They were all in different outfits, different races, different genders, inside, outside, you name it, it's all over the place. But we've converted that to an open pose set. So then we can use the open pose in our generation, the prompt from the model set. So it's got all the right tags and everything else. If I was smart, I would have saved the prompt along with the image as a text file as I was doing it. Yeah, if I was smart. I didn't think of that. That could have saved me a lot of time, because now when I come to get the good images, I'll have to recaption them again. But this is the thing. Even though I will have saved myself the time by doing that, the image I get doesn't actually describe with the prompt. Sometimes you get extra details. Sometimes things aren't listened to. So I think it's a good idea that every time you come to curate for a retrain, that you should be doing it by hand, going through the prompts by eye, reading them, looking at the image, and actually going through it one by one, because you'll spot things that are obvious, you know. Yeah, and this is much more sort of dystopian China, because remember, the funny thing is, her route, I haven't decided how far she's gotten yet, but her route takes her through Mongolia and then ultimately like near Beijing on the way to the sea. Because we looked at the map to get research and we worked out that she can have no map and no GPS, and she just has to follow the cranes at migration point. And there's even like 6 waves. So if you like follow the first crane, and it takes you a couple of weeks to move, and there'll be more waves, and you can just keep looking up and they all go in the same direction. It's literally like GPS in the sky. You don't even need to know how to read the stars. Just follow the cranes. I think that's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, guys. Every now and then I threw in a random pose from something else for fun, because I wanted to see, you know, how much, because I've always said this, you know, like, if you train the models like I train them, you'll be able to use all of this stuff, and it'll be like quite elastic, do you know what I mean? You could just give it anything and it'll just do it, and it'll stick to the outfit. It's been a while since we've done a from scratch start to finish, and as I say, where does this one go next, right? Where does this one go next? Well, pretty obvious. And I was hoping to show it to you tonight, but the latest version of Latent Sync requires flash attention, which I don't use, and so there's no option. I'm tempted to fork it and put it back to SDVA, guys, but I don't want to do stuff I don't need to do. So what we'll probably do, because I wanted to show you, like, okay, last thing, maybe. Yeah, right. So the control data set. So I want to explain to you how you can make your own control data set. Obviously, making a pose data set, that's easy. All right, you don't need to do anything special for that. If I go into DJZ nodes right here, you can see that we have a bunch of folders, right? Control prompts. If I go into one of them, there is a control prompt data set. Image, prompt, canny, depth, mask, open pose, next image in the data set. Yeah, it's just got, it's not, you can't really say they're pairs. What are they? Sextants? Quintuples? Quintuples. It's a tuple, right? But there are 6 elements in the tuple. Anyway, we're just going to use the wrong terms until they make sense. If I go back and look at pose maps, because obviously control prompt, you've got to do all this, you've got to run a couple of scripts, and then you end up with that data set that I showed you. And I will show this real quick. But pose maps is even easier, okay? It is literally, look, where is it? DJZ woman, yeah? That's it. It's just a big folder full of pose maps. That's all it is. And I've even got a workflow for building these. You see what I mean? We've got a pose map creator, which you can just give it a directory of images, leave it on, that'll batch it for the number of them. There's 289 in here, because obviously I think I deleted a lot. Some of them occasionally get a black screen, sometimes they don't form very well, you know. But I got 289 good ones, and I will publish this as well. You're welcome to have them all. But yeah, you put the folder of pose maps inside the pose maps folder. So pose maps, folder containing your thing, right? And then they become available in the workflow for you to drag into the control net. And like I said, you can put it on fixed so it stays the same. You can put it on increment. You can put it on random. It's completely up to you how you want to use it. It's just seed controlled random pose maps, but you predefine them. So they're not random really, are they? They're grouped however you wanted them to be. So let's take a quick look at control dataset creation tool right here. So it's the same setup as always. We have the load image batch. We put the path to the directory of images here. We put the primitive here for the index. I leave it on increment and I batch the number of images in the folder. I set the project file next as like a subdirectory, so everything that we do will be in there, right? I batch the number of images and I let it run. That's all there is to it. Just so you know what each bit's doing, this is the Inspire net. This one is the image itself, so it saves the image, then it inspires, saves the mask. Then we do QuenVL on I think this is for a video, so actually it's QuenVL on frame 15, and then like a bunch of appending and stuff. But anyway, if you've already got the prompt, like I do, normally I already have this bit, so what I do is I disable that line, and then I'll just copy the prompts into a folder called prompts at the end. So you can skip that part if you actually already have captions, is what I'm saying. And then down here we have the depth. So that is the depth. This one is the canny. This one is the open pose, right? And like I said, at the end of it, what you have is you have a folder that looks a little bit something like this. Okay, so there it is. Look, DJZ woman. We open it up, scene name, and then inside of it we have all of those. That's not the correct one. Imp creator. Yeah, there we go. Imp creator. So RDM Sharona. Go inside. There you go. So they're all in different folders. Now, when you originally get them, they will always have comfy numbers at the ends of the file names, like _00001 underscore, yeah? So what I did was I wrote a Python script, which you can put here. When you run it, it will scan all the subdirectories for PNG files that have the underscore whatever numbers, and it strips them. Simple. That's step one. And I believe it's in the workflow pack. So if I'm in ControlPrompt, see, I don't see it. I'll make sure that is uploaded. So I'm going to write an article on this so you don't have to remember everything. And then the article will become a tutorial video. But until such time, this is like your sneak peek early access, I guess. But yeah, like I said, if I go, I probably, do you know what I did? I bet I put it in there. Nope, it's not in there either. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to make an article which actually links to everything so you don't have to dig around. But yeah, essentially there is a full repo just for this. Okay. So if and it's a couple page back as well because I make so much stuff. God damn it. Okay, so if I come back to... Where is it? I'm sure it's here. Don't tell me it's on page 2. Dude. Wait, has it moved because I updated it? God, I hate. 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 Come on. There it is. It did. It moved. It moved because I updated it. So it's probably what I'm talking about. You know the script I was just looking for? It's right here. Rename images v2. But I haven't written up the document yet, so... this actually works though. I just recently added that to make your life easy. But essentially this is what it does. When you run this, you have a config file. As I explained, I love doing so much. Inside the config file, you put the path to your folder imp creator output. So this is like the folder we just looked at, the one which has all of these folders here. Okay. And then there's even a way to remap it. So say you use different names for the folders, you can actually remap it, and then it's going to output to data sets. So what am I talking about? That could all be Swahili. So this is what it does. It creates a timestamp dataset folder. So if you mess it up, you can just do it again and just get the latest one. Don't worry about it. It copies the images and the prompts directly. So images go in the images folder, prompts go in the prompts folder. They're not together, they're separated. And then it renames all of the images in the mask folder with underscore M, depth underscore D, pose underscore P, and canny underscore C. And then my loader understands that naming system. You know, it's looking for a suffix. If it doesn't see a suffix, it's obviously just an image. And then the image name is matching the prompt. So then actually the loader is loading prompts. Because you remember my Zenkai prompt system? This is all based on my prompt loader. All I did was I programmed it to automatically then output paired data to that prompt. So then you get the ability to filter and whitelist and blacklist terms in the prompt. So now you can actually filter the images that you're serving randomly. So this is like a next evolution of a random prompt system, you know, because it will run forever, and now you can put all types of advanced conditioning in with it, and it's up to you. Do you know what I mean? If you want every image in there to be a different dancing pose, you can do that. And why bother? Well, the reason is simple. A little while back, we were messing around with something called LTXV. And when we had LTXV, we would run it, and then we would use our reactor to face swap it, and then we would do various other things, maybe interpolation, save it out. So LTXV is now not the longest. It's still the fastest, but not the longest. Everyone wants to use Framepack with Hunyan, yeah? So, Framepack, generate your video. Take your best videos, and then you can put them into... that's not the right workflow. Frame Talker if you want them to talk. Although, it's been 2 hours. Let's see if we can get it to work this time. I bet it'll still break. What's it say? Potential memory leak found in Flux clip model. Oh no! Right, so it's going to get to there. It's going to say installing PyTorch Lightning. So let's go to our friends over at Latent Sync and see what they're saying. ByteDance Latent Sync. I think we need the Comfy UI one actually. Let's have a look. 1.5. Well, one thing I'm noticing is that I'm not using the video length adjuster, which looks useful. To avoid GPU memory allocation, frames are moved to CPU before UINT 8. This change enables generation of longer videos. Updates. Okay, this is all great stuff. And they just removed Xformers and Triton, so actually it was worse, but it says here native PyTorch Flash Attention 2 implementation. You must have Comfy, you must have Framepack. Yep. Yeah, do I have these? Oh, okay. While we were waiting, it actually worked. It actually worked. Second time was the charm. So where's the thing? Oh, no, it didn't work. It said installing package, and then it gave me a bunch of like junk notifications that I don't care about and constantly spam up the console. Cool, man. Yeah, it's not working, is it? So it's got native PyTorch Lightning, but what if I don't have native PyTorch Lightning? Did they include any instructions on how to install that? Damn. It's 6.6 gigabytes. And has a 200 megabyte whisper in it as well. No troubleshooting. Does not support cartoon faces. That's alright, my faces aren't cartoon, they're actually realistic. I got lucky. So... I mean, the node wouldn't have loaded, like the nodes wouldn't have imported if this wasn't done. So that must be done. And to be honest, I don't really see anything here which would be... It's got nothing to do with Flash Attention 2. I wonder if my PyTorch is out of date. God damn it. It's always something, isn't it? Still uses Insight Face, guys. Training, and valuation citation. Damn. So you get no help there and no help there. Oof. Update version of PyTorch Lightning in Comfy Portable. We should not upgrade PyTorch. Instead, use something else. That's confusing. Wait, what? How is there a thing for this? Haha, another man using Kudianan. Isn't that cool? Codes are modified from Sage, T-Cache. God damn, someone else is on the case. Look at this. God knows. But this is no good for what we want to do, even though this is super cool. Holy crap. This is what ends up happening, you know? Sparge attention. Sparge attention. It's like Sage, but it's someone sparged it. It's like Spooderman attention. Sparge attention. I love it. Because it's sparse Sage. Your sparge hyperparams. Awesome. Hyperparameters. Anyway, okay. What's that? Spotify. Yeah, so anyway, guys, my latent sync has let me down. I think it's because my comfy UI might need updating. I will... installing. See, I feel like it should be allowing me to install this properly, or it should be in the requirements or something. I don't know. Because it doesn't... It's weird. It doesn't actually say anywhere, oh, you need to install it. It doesn't actually say it anywhere. And it's not in my history. There it is. So... like, he mentions that it has native PyTorch flash attention. But he doesn't mention how... It says native. That's what makes me think comfy. I think... No, I think comfy needs to be updated. You say there's a different latent sync? This is definitely the one that we used before. And there are two others. I know there are two others. In fact, that's a point. Let's just have a look at the other two real quick. So it don't matter none. So if I go to latent sync, so currently we're using this one, which has the 744 stars and was updated on the 4th 29. This one was not updated as recently, has no stars, bit like my stuff, and was optimized based on comfy latent sync wrapper. And then there's another one which has some stars. I don't judge them by stars, but it's basically the only real... Normally I judge it by whoever updated last, which in this case is this one. And what he's... Look, this one also supports 1.5 now. Because this is just a fork of Shmuel. And to be honest, I don't think it's his fault that I can't install flash attention. That's not going to change. It's just it's the same. Yeah, this isn't going to make any difference. Well, the next one. This one's forked from ByteDance. So this guy actually wrote his own, but he hasn't updated it. So that means it's not going to be updated to 1.5. So while this one will work, it can't do videos as long. Okay. Bottom line, no. So I just have to actually get this to install, and it's because my flash attention is missing. So I know what I need to do, but the bottom line is you might not have that problem. I probably have that problem because I had the old one installed, so I've got to like fix my broken installation again. Good times. But this workflow will work for you if you can get it installed, and that's, like I said, down to your system and all that business. I mean, he says native, so you would have thought it would be simple, wouldn't you? But I bet I'll go back there, it's still not loading. No, I'm okay, Dragon. Dragon's offering me a flash attention wheel in the chat. It's all good, my friend. To be honest, I've got more stuff to do. Like, I make the workflows. I know the workflow does work. Do you know what I mean? Like, this workflow isn't going to change. Like, you might want to add in that, what was it called? The latent sync padding. Video length adjuster. So for example, you might want to add in the video length adjuster, which is part of the package, and you would put it, you know, in front of the latent sync node. So I would say audio into there, audio into there, images into there, images into there. I'm not going to get any points for presentation doing it like that, but I think you get the point. So normal ping pong loop to audio. So yeah, there it is. That's that. Like I said, that's the only thing you might want to add, but you don't actually need it. It just allows you to have a little bit more control over what's going on. And also it says 25 FPS there, so you know what? If it wants to work in 25 FPS, I can also work in 25 FPS. It doesn't. Installing one fixes the other. Well, they're the same thing. Yeah, they're the same thing, Dragon. It's all the same thing. Like, even from the guy that's not related, his is a fork of the code that the other guy wrote a wrapper for. So it's like there are 3 wrappers. One is forked of one of... It's just standard comfy custom node stuff. Okay. So let me look at my list here. Video speech set. Ah, yeah, that was a note. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start working on that video speech dataset standard. It's going to be very simple. A text file which is paired with a video file. That's it. And obviously the intention is for the person to be speaking the words. And then that way you can load the video into Latent Sync, and then you can just load the lines. Alright, so I've managed to show you the control prompts again. Hopefully I did a better job of explaining it than last time, but who knows. I'm actually going to close all these tabs now because I have no idea. There we go. Yeah, because like I said, it's a nightmare. The tabs just all rename. I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes the tabs will rename themselves as something other than what they are. So the names stay the same in the tabs, but then the workflow it's all the same workflow. And then if you save, it actually overwrites workflows you have on your machine. I'm like, that's not useful. You get photobombed by a low-res face. All right. There it is, ladies and gents. We did a little bit of overtime to get that last bit hammered home. We covered Framepack into TTS with Latent Sync. We released the workflow. We also covered the face swap, which is used to perfect your consistent character LoRa train. I introduced the idea. We got the forked feature, which may or may not appear in the next live stream. And we're working on parakeets. Parakeets. Should we see if it works? That'll be the last thing I do, I think. Yeah. Go. Yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. You're probably right. I don't know how you do it, though. All I know is that sometimes I'll open up the machine. I think it's after you restart the server. So like you shut Comfy down and restart it, everything's still there. But if you shut Comfy down and then open it up, like maybe it's the amount of time, I don't know. But the Chrome tabs are just identical. That's another one. It's just annoying. It just basically means the point of having the tabs is kind of eliminated because it's safer to just have one workflow in a tab. Do you know what I mean? It's just safer to do that. If you start getting used to having multiple tabs in the Comfy tab, it all goes wrong. So let's have a look at this. Wiget. is being installed using setup pi. It's so funny. I said don't use the setup pi, and he's basically just using setup pi for everything. But if it works, it works. Look at this. Pip 23 will enforce this behavior. I'm glad my pip's out of date then, aren't I? Because that's really funny. Don't update the pip, because otherwise you'll get hit with the deprecation warnings. It'll just stop you from doing that. So far so good. The joke is, I don't even think, have I even got an audio file? I think I do. I think I've got like a demo audio file. Yeah, I do. So I'm just ready to go. I wonder if we can hit this. It takes so long. What's going on? How big is setup tools anyway? Still waiting. Any day now. My God, man, I swear. Like, you probably could have written an entire book in the time it's taken to set up. Oh wait, what's it even doing? It uninstalled it. Okay. I'm not going to question it. But yeah, the whole point of this project was a little bit of a test to see if he could remove the need for Conda using AI, which is, you know, it sounds like more than it really is, guys. Like I said, because we did the whole use a VNV, right, for UV installation, right? So we decided to use that, and that worked. I wouldn't be surprised if you just Dockerize it. I wouldn't be surprised if you just go, oh, make this into a Docker. Just make it Docker. Dockerize it. Has anybody used the Docker stuff yet? Oh, hang on a minute. Parakeet works, but I had to modify one Nemo file because Win32 is not Linux. Christ. See, we haven't even got that far yet. We're still trying to install bloody setup tools. What did you have to do, Fernicar? He had to modify the Nemo file. Be nice if they told me how to do that. Yeah. We never even got as far as running it yet, because the install's insane. How big is this VNV now? It's tiny. Is it crashed? The installation in your new VNV will take some time, man, plus the model download. Well, you would think that, but I already have the model download. I already have the model. So I don't know, is it downloading more stuff? Include lib. Oh, wow. Oh, damn, yeah, there actually was a lot there. Okay, hang on, I think it's just finished. Okay. Start VNV. Go on. I want to see explosions. It should just automatically start transcribing the test file, which is in the demo folder. No. I got sig kill. What? Signal has no attribute sig kill. Yeah, you're right. This is trying to run Linux. What are you doing? Yeah, I think you're right, dude. But what? That's stupid, though. Hang on, let's see what Claude has to say about this one. Okay, here we go. Right. Okay. So, when we install the... when we completed app install, we then ran the start VNV. Yeah. Error. Go. Probably don't want that open while we're doing prompts though. That's silly. But yeah, so what's it doing? Signal sig kill. Okay. That's like turn the computer off. So, yeah. Yeah, so error indicates it has dependencies that aren't fully compatible with Windows. To make it compatible, here's what I propose. Update the thing. Oh, look at that. PyTorch Lightning. Hey, everyone. There's the missing dependency I was looking for 20 minutes ago. It just appeared. Isn't that amazing how AI does that? Create a patch file that will fix the sig kill by replacing it with an available signal. Sig term. I don't know if I really want to be doing that. That sounds like the beginning of a really deep rabbit hole there. Let's just replace these with these and see what happens. This allows us to not modify the code of parakeet transcribe. But the thing is that I wrote that, so I don't care. You can just go ahead and change it. Okay. We are allowed to edit the... Can't believe it. He's like, hands off! Because the thing is, I told him earlier that he'd be in big trouble if he changed anything in my repo, right? When I was doing just, because remember I was converting it from... we converted it from Conda to use a native Python virtual environment, right? And pip and everything else. And I think that in saying that, he's now like, I can't touch any of the files. I'll always take advice from Fernicar. He has good ideas. Let me see. Create a Windows compatible version of Parakeet. We'll do a system check. So look, it's asking him to make it Windows compatible. He does know what that is. So import platform, import warnings. This is really funny. It's like another little experiment. I love it. Did you just get sig kill? I'd love it if you do it all and run it and then it crashes and he goes and he comes back and he goes, I have completed the job. Your program is now crashing successfully. Your program is now crashing according to Windows specifications. I'm like, yes. At least I'm crashing right, Like if you want to crash, you got to crash to like. Why are there two? What? Nemo toolkit from 1.18 to 1.21 only. No higher, no lower, guys. Okay, so he wants me to do the install again. Let me guess, it's going to delete the old one, or is it just going to update it? What? Wait a minute. Did it just sig kill in the middle of the thing? No, it didn't. Wait. No module named Cython. So we're still missing stuff. Oh, that's build tools. Oh, I don't have that. Encountered error. This is an issue with pip. My egg. I've got a bad egg, guys. I got a bad egg. I have a bad egg. Yeah, it's the compiler. I know. I've got to... See, the thing is, my compilers have been scuffed for ages, if I'm being real. He's just going to add Scythen to it and see if he can do it. So, yeah, let's let him... Let's see if he can engage the center diff and use four-wheel drive to get out of his hole. It might be over, though, guys. It might be over. He might have the high ground. Hit install U Scythen. That be a compiler doll. Okay, and now you want me to do it again. U token tone requires Scythen. To install, delete the previous VNV. God damn it. Breaking change. At least he told me, though. Some LLMs wouldn't even tell you, because I don't know. I don't know what mess he's made in there. Ninja can compile from within Python? Damn, I never even used that. So far, so good. I mean, if there's one thing, at least I've got everything he is, you know what I mean? It's all in the cache now, so... I'm surprised it's not, like, broken because of a proto buff or numpy mismatch. That's usually what holds everything back. But I don't know. Oh. I mean... So it does everything right. They got rid of most of these problems in Python 3.13, did they? I've not even tried 3.13 yet. I'm still on late 3.12. 3.12.9 or 7? 8? I can't remember. Something like that. And to be honest, everyone's always telling me just to go back. They're always like, go back to the old one, it's better. I'm like, is it though? I don't know. Oh yeah, we're at this point again. Oh, watching the setup tools paint dry. But yeah, if Parakeet works, it can do super fast audio transcription, which would be very useful. Because I might not even need to watch video. I could build a system with Parakeet, if I can get it to bloody work, which will look at a video as audio, do the transcription, and then I'll write an agent to interpret the transcripts. And then that will give me more information than what I would have gotten from a service anyway. Because that's the thing, these services are fast. What I'm finding is they're not always that accurate. Sometimes they're not looking at the whole video. Sometimes they're unable to pick up on certain things. I'd like a little bit more control. Oh yeah, I don't doubt it works, guys. I don't doubt it works. Like I said, this was an experiment to remove Conda. So obviously what they gave you works. I'm not saying Conda doesn't work. That's not why I'm doing it. I wanted to fork it to see if I could change the installation method again. Because we did that with UV yesterday. So it's just another Another spin-off from that. And it's funny to see all the stuff that they actually hid in there. Because think about it, right? They're like, oh, pip install full stop. And then you look inside of it and actually it's got all this stuff in there. So it's very much, and again, if it ships with a compiler, I would say it's probably not ready yet. No offense, guys, like to whoever made it, but it's not ready for deployment. You know what I mean? Like I would call this in the old, like in the pre-2020 terminology, I would call this an alpha. It works, you know. Yeah, it works. Do we even know if this one's commercial use or research only? I can't remember. Should we find out? Research model or only? Where are you? NVIDIA. Nemo 2. Apache 2. That's good. Apache 2. Okay. Right. Come on then. This is your last chance. And then I'm out of here. I want to see it crash or succeed. Required libraries not found. Please do this. Okay, now when this happens, I just want to prove that it isn't a failed VNV. So what I'll do is I'll just do this manually. Ah ha ha ha! See? No, see, call doesn't work. Right, how about that? I don't see it activating the VNV, guys. I don't think the VNV is active. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's not actually looking at the right. It's not even using the. It's not even. You know what I mean? It's not actually using the virtual environment at all. It's not even using. I got a better idea. Whoa! What the heck? PowerShell is out of date. Not now. Go away. Okay. Let me try. Yes! Okay. Confirmed. It was stupid. Right. I just want to prove when the VNV is actually running, does it work? Before I keep going on about it being broken. Do you know what I mean? I don't want a false negative. Yeah, it is broken. Okay, cool. I'm happy now. Yeah, it's toast, mate. Toast. But it was fun, though. You know what I mean? It was fun. Like I say, I like to see if the AI can rise to the challenge. And what it ends up doing is interesting. Like I said, if I get rid of this console log and go to the install path, this is what it came up with in the end. Make the virtual environment, activate the thing. I think that did actually work. I just wanted to make sure it was working. Install Cython, which not even in the requirements, you know what I mean? And then it goes install requirements. You look in the requirements, we've got PyTorch Lightning, no mention of that. Nemo toolkit with specific versioning, and then obviously Cython. You need to install Nemo Toolkit ASR like I did. Yeah, we have. What version have you got, Fernicut? What version have you got? I have a version that's somewhere in between 1.18 and 1.21. Look at me. But yeah, we'll come back to that. Like I said, I filed it under not important for now. But yeah, I'd never used a Nemo model before, mate. Never. Don't know what the hell a dot Nemo is, but I think we do need to find out. We do need to start using these. How are we looking over here? Are we? Yeah, we're still loading. Latent sync flash attention. Sound familiar? More flash attention problems. It's always the same shit that breaks everything, I swear. Anyway, that's why I avoid all that crap. But then developers are cooking it in now. It's brilliant. Cook it in, don't talk about it. When it breaks, no help. It's my favorite thing. Nemo Toolkit version 2.21. 2.2.1. Hang on a minute. But if you're on 2.2.1, that means these requirements are super cooked. Because, yeah, 2.2.1, look at this. Mine says 1. It's like 1.8 to. This is all crap. It's because it was developed for Linux. The instructions are for Linux. End of story. So yeah, I'll just come at it from that angle next time I build it. As for this thing, we've been let down by Latent Sync Wrapper. It's just fetching. Where does it say it? It's installing required package PyTorch Lightning until the end of time. So I might have to look at installing that manually and then, you know, reinstalling Comfy entirely when it breaks it. I'm not being a doomer, it just happens every time. So it's like, I just expect it at this point. It's like, oh, latest thing for Comfy, it's so good guys, you've got to have it. Toasts your installation. Every time. Every time. Right. That's enough of that. I will be captioning my stuff tonight. Thank you very much for joining me for Crazy AI Hijinks. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Might start a little bit earlier. We'll see how the day goes. Thanks, guys.
Svingo all dikke voelen naar mijn visie.
But